The Stephie Smalls Show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a free Refs or Terrace t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs.
Are you ready?
Hello. Happy hump day. We are back. It's Wednesday, halfway through the week. Golf is on tomorrow, so the weekend starts tomorrow. Very excited. We are starting our team previews today. Second guest is going to be Jake Ellenbogen. You guys know him. He's been on a bunch of times. We're going to go through the Los Angeles Rams. And then up first with me is Steve Melia. You know we love having comedians on the show. We're going to talk some Yankees madness, some sports betting, maybe some hangover tricks. Why don't we bring Steve in now?
Hey,
how's it going?
it's going great. How are you?
I had this whole plan, and now I'm realizing it because I'm seeing. I meant to put my Yankees hat on, and it was going to be a whole thing. And I did drop the ball there. How are you doing, though?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yankees aren't doing so good right now, though, I'll tell you that.
They're not. Oh no!
Mm-mm.
Wait, well, I actually look at this. I even looked. Listen. Not that I stopped watching the Yankees. My grandma died because it used to be our thing. Not to start it off on a depressing note. But I haven't been as invested since then. But I did see that they are 3-7 last 10 games. That's not great.
Gosh. They haven't scored in 29 innings.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know.
What is going on?
Something's going on.
Something's going on. Something's up. You went to every game the Yankees played one season.
I did. I actually have done it twice. I did it in 2011, and I didn't even know if I could do it. The idea was me and another comic took off, and we were going to sort of do a comedy tour all in I think it was 18 different cities that they play in. And I had just gotten separated from like 10 years of marriage. So it was the one time where I could probably pull it off.
Yeah.
And I just went, I looked at the calendar at the beginning of the year, and I was like, okay, I could drive there, take a train. I don't have to fly for 5 weeks. So in that time, I'll sort of figure it out. And then I just sort of budgeted out. I said, okay, if I'm doing 200 a flight, 100 a night for a hotel. And I just said, you know what? And I could stay with you. I think I could do it. And it was amazing. It was so much fun.
That's crazy. Because they play so often. Like I can't even think of how that is even possible. Like it's crazy to do it like with an NFL team, but to do that with a baseball team is insanity, kind of.
Well, and just not missing a flight or a flat tire. You know, that was the thing is I got to just get in the game. And, you know, there were some close calls, but the logistics of it and just planning it out, you know, you're not going to buy all the plane tickets, you know, for 6 months. So you just go a couple weeks in advance. And it was so much fun. It was the year that Jeter did his 3,000th hit.
I was going to just ask, what year was it?
Yeah, it was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that was a good year. That was a good year in New York sports. We won a Super Bowl. That was a good year.
Yeah, it was great. It was, you know, unfortunately, we lost in the playoffs in 5. And the local media in New York and the Yankees just started to pick up my story with like a week to go.
Yeah.
And I was emailing them every week, calling them every week, and finally they're like, yeah, well, you know, they did a little video of me and all that. But then as soon as they lost, it was over. You know, as soon as I was like, all right.
Yeah. Real quick. And social media wasn't what it is now back then. So I can't even imagine, like, I'm sure people do that now for content, but like that would have been such a big hit nowadays too.
Yeah, for sure.
People love that. What are some of your favorite stadiums from doing that?
As a Yankees fan, I was always sort of scared to go to Fenway. I didn't even know if I'd ever go to Fenway. And then the first weekend there was so much fun. I love it.
It's so fun.
Oh my God. And I wear all my Yankee stuff. I'm not going to like change my.
Yeah.
And they're brutal there, but they're cool. They're fair. As soon as they realize that you can take it and you take a ribbon and they're cool with you, you're great. And, you know, they'll sit there and drink with you all day. And they're really fun. I mean, it could be 13-0. They could be 12 games out of first place and they'll be yelling at the ump in the ninth inning, you know, it's a ball, you know. And so just they're so intense. So I love going to Boston. It's always a great time.
Yeah, if you have not been to Fenway, that's like you need to put it on your bucket list. Boston alone as a city is fantastic. I lived there for one summer, but I love going to Fenway, even in Yankee stuff. Like you said, I kind of can echo some of that. What about worse? What about some of the? Give me like the 3 worst fan bases, like off of doing that.
So, Oakland, like there's nowhere to even stay, because we were always trying to like, okay, let's get a hotel. And there's like this one sketchy hotel, like half mile away. So we would like, have to walk to the stadium and all this. And so I'd say Oakland, probably number 1. Let's see, Baltimore's a great time. Always love Baltimore.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, the stadium's great. I think that the Tampa Stadium sucks.
I've been there actually. That is one that I have been to. It does suck. It's very being in gym class.
Yeah, it's like a gym auditorium. What's great about it is you're at the beach, and there's a bar right across the street. He's gonna kill me because I can't remember his name right. A good buddy of mine owns that, and it's so much fun. And so the people there are great, but just like the stadium itself. But whatever. And then people would always ask me too, like, what's your favorite food and all this? And I was on a budget. I was like making sandwiches and sneaking in little bottles of vodka and whatever, just to try to not spend money. Yeah. We had a thing on our website where you could buy us a beer. My other buddy was Steve too. So buy Steve and Steve a beer, and they would hit it in like $12 beer, $24, and you could buy us both a beer. And we would play a game like we can't have a beer until someone buys us a beer.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I know. Well, now it's all these ballparks. Have you seen some of the food that they like have available? I've seen the most ridiculous stuff lately.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And it's like, listen, I mean, especially for people that go there once or twice a year, they don't even really care that much. You're in line for like so long, waiting for everything. I think I'm just so fanatically obsessed with the game that I don't like to wait in lines. I like to get to my place. If I go to the bathroom, I go with 2 outs. And, so I didn't miss the crowd coming both ways. Right. And so I'm very fanatical like
that. That's funny. So you've been to obviously the old, I don't even know, have I been to the new Yankee Stadium? I have been to the new Yankee Stadium. Have you?
Yeah. So I did it in the new Yankee Stadium.
Oh, it wasn't, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was way too far back now.
Yeah. No. So they moved in 2009 and then they won in 2009 was the last time they won. And, but not since. So I guess
do you bet baseball a lot then?
Yeah, more than I care to. Yeah, I do.
Sure. Yeah. So wait, you bet it quite often then. What do you have for the rest of the night? Do we need to sweat something out with you?
Well, no, I got Boston in the early game. It's all about, I don't know. I'm learning more and more as we go.
Yeah.
But I do better when I'm really focused on it. I go out a lot, especially as a comedian. I'm out at night. And if I'm really not watching, that's the great thing about live betting is if you're watching it, you can really get a flow for it, especially with basketball. I think you get a really big flow in basketball, how things are going. Baseball a little bit. You can see if a pitcher's off and, stuff like that. But, and then the more you know about a team, obviously the better. If they, if their bullpen's stretched, if they got a day off tomorrow, a lot of that matters, whether how far they're going to push a guy,
Yeah. Absolutely. So are you a traditional, are you a Yankees, Giants, Knicks, Rangers, or where is your allegiance? Because a lot of people don't realize this is a very, it's Jets, Nets, Mets, usually. I am not part of that, and then Giants, Knicks, Yankees.
Yeah, where did you grow up?
In Connecticut.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right over the border in New York.
Yeah, sure. I'm from Long Island. My dad was a New York City firefighter, and we moved when I was 8. I'm the youngest of 7. So we moved to Florida, and all the kids there were either, they were Dolphin fans. So I immediately became a Jets fan just to shut them up, just so I'd have an opposition. And then I was still sort of Yankees and Mets for a long time because I just wanted to hang on to New York. I just wanted everyone to know we're from New York. So whatever New York teams. But now I'm Yankees, Jets, unfortunately, Knicks, Rangers.
Okay. So mine gets thrown off because I'm a Nets fan, which is icky. Yeah, very icky. Yeah, very gross. I know everyone has that same reaction every time I say that. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan that is also a Nets fan. Okay, so talk to me about the Jets.
Oh my God. Well, it's no better than it was 5 years ago or 10. I mean, I think we're starting all over. I mean, this is, know what we're going to do.
Are you excited about Justin Fields or no?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. It's sort of like when you get into a new relationship and you start to get excited about that person again, then your mind's like, yeah, you got excited about the last one too. Look where you are now. And so
it's like the preseason. I don't even know what to call them yet. Like the preseason butterflies of like, you still get, I've been doing this a lot as a Giants fan, like for several years now. It's like you get into the preseason, you find stuff to get excited about. And then week 2, you're like, all right, fuck this again. Like I'm fucking done. It was cute. It was fun during, the preseason, but I don't know. I don't mind the Fields move.
No, I like it a lot. I like it. I think it's great. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to add a whole new dimension to them. But like the last 2 years, I joined a Jets fan club that's here in Wilmington, and I'm there. And then all of a sudden, by the 4th game, you're like, this sucks. I'm even,
This sucks.
They're like, we miss you. I'm like, no, the Jets suck.
And I think it's better to, like, Justin Fields at least will add excitement to the games. Like, I am at a place as a Giants fan where I just don't want to watch, like, Glennon and Jake Fromm playing on my football team, like, not being able, doing QB sneaks fourth and like, I don't want to watch any of that. I just want to be able to, enjoy a game and not want to shut it off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that,
and not be disgusted. Yeah, no, it's amazing. And for 2 big market teams like the Jets and the Giants to just be so pitiful year after year.
It's quite obnoxious, actually. Okay, what's the best bet you've ever hit? Like, what's the one that's like in your brain that you have such a strong memory of?
Okay, cool. I like to go to things like last minute. I think that's one of the reasons I came up with the 162. It's just that if you really decide to go, that you want to go to some, especially a baseball game, you can go because there's so many tickets. There's 50,000 tickets. They play every day. So even playoff games are not as hard or expensive, to get in. So I went last minute to, I think it was game 5. I think it was game 5 of the, it was 3 years. It was the playoff game. Anyway, I made a bet that John Cart, like the first, I think the first 3 runs, would come on a home run, something like that. Like the first, and it was, he had a 3-run homer in the first. So I'm sitting there, paid for the whole trip, won like $600 or $700, just like, 3 batters in, and just felt like, felt great. So stuff like that where, but it's so hard. Like, do you bet on your team? Like they haven't scored in 20. I want to bet on the Yankees so bad tonight, but now
you have to. We have to.
I'm betting like the over under on the.
Actually, the guest after you is a Yankees fan too. I feel like we have to. It's like a lot of Yankees power. We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Them, I think.
Absolutely. And then I tell you one bet I like is the over under on the RBIs. So there's one you do RBIs, hits, and runs, and like for Judge, they walk him a lot. So that's good for runs, and then of course if he hits a home run with one guy on base, he's over 2.5. He's a free, and so I like that bet. I like that. I tell you the biggest mistake I make though, and I think a lot of people do this with the prop bets, is they just parlay too many prop bets because you add one like, oh, if this guy strikes out over this, but that's the biggest mistake.
Well, what the problem is all these, they're so smart, and I worked in social media for a really long time, and these. Like DraftKings and all these sportsbooks are so smart because they find these guys, like the guy that has the ticket with the Oilers, whatever it is. I haven't really been following it much. I don't watch a lot of hockey, but like it becomes, you see these people win $200,000 off of a $2 bet, and now it's like, oh, you just add one more leg, and look at how much more I can make. So it's easy to fall down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I like, especially we just got North Carolina just got gambling last year, and you can do it on your phone. So it's just like, and especially for people like, especially comedians, we'll just all be sitting around, bet. And everybody's like, I missed the parlay by one. No, that's what parlays are. You're always going to miss by half a run or half a point or half a rebound. And that's the way it goes. So expect that. So don't complain that you missed,
And they're going to sting. It's going to sting a lot. I try to limit them to, like, I'll usually, at least during the football season, I'll do like one crazy parlay with my longest receptions that I have like 8 guys in maybe, but I try to keep the legs to like 4 to 5. Like going over 5, I think, is when you start to get ridiculous. Like now we're asking for a lot to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And then the other mistake that I always make a lot is if I'm really sure, like say I like the Yankees, and then I'll wind up using the Yankees in like 4 or 5 of my parlays, and they'll lose, and I'll lose all the parlays.
Yes,
that's the worst. And then I'm in a bad mood. The Yankees lost.
Yeah. So what's the last bet you placed? Like if you were to look, what's the last one you placed?
So that would be about 3 minutes before we got on.
Okay, amazing. I made one too before we got on.
I'm going to tell you, I think it was a live bet. Oh, no, okay. I took the Nationals to beat the Rockies, a three-leg parlay. Nationals to beat the Rockies. And the Rockies have actually been winning, and I think the Nationals have lost 6 or 7 in a row.
I like it.
The Yankees to win. This is but they're minus 235, which I don't think is fair. I think they take advantage of Yankee fans.
They do.
We
they
like
take
to
advantage
bet.
of New York markets.
Absolutely. Yes. That's an inflated number. And then the Braves to beat the Mets, and Chris Sale's pitching there. So a 3-leg parlay, $22 bet plus 245. So that was the very last bet. But then I did the one right before it. It was the top of the 8th, and I took the under. It was 3-1. It was 3-1 at the time, and so I just said no one's going to score again. I took the under 4.5. And that was plus 120. So I like to do a lot of the late game. Especially with hockey too.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Always fun with the with the empty.
I like the late games too because you can wake up and I like to see if I won or not. Because sometimes I don't actually watch the game, but it's nice. You open your account and you're like, oh, look at that. What did I hit?
Somebody's really got a problem when they're like, it's like 1 a.m. and they're like, hey, you checking out that Hawaii game? And you're like, taking it,
betting on Chinese like women's basketball, ping pong, whatever the hell they bet on.
Yeah.
David said Steph's had to be golf. It actually was not. Although I was eyeing out Tom Kim's each way. I bet Bijan Robinson before we jumped on to have the most rushing yards this season. I don't know. He was third. He was third last year. And he's like 6th in the odds. He was 11-1. So I placed that bet right before we got on. Thought that was quite nice. Before I have a couple questions for you, we're going to talk about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cash back rewards. Why wouldn't you want cash back on when you're gambling, right? Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Sign up and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt. Hey, have I ever mentioned Circa before? Probably 4,000 billion times. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas are giving away a fantasy football draft experience. I see David in the chat. He came to my draft last year. You can go ask him all about how much fun it is. You guys get to host your draft in a Stadium Swim cabana. There's a bunch of open bar packages, $5,000 tab at Stadium Swim. You get a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates, limo ride to and from the airport, Legacy Club, welcome. It's fantastic. Circa is the best place in the world. Make sure you get a banana split. Save a day. Always add an extra day to your Vegas trip. Stay an extra day. You have to order room service. You can't get anywhere else. Order a banana split and thank me later. You can always get 15% off at all the Circa properties with promo code SGP15. Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football Contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. College football team previews are back on the College Experience. Colby Dant and Moneyline Mac preview every FBS college football team, and you don't want to miss it. So go check those guys out. It's probably where I'll be getting my college football knowledge because that's not exactly my specialty. Do you know who Bonnie Blue is?
No, I'm not sure if I do.
I don't even know how to. I should have thought of this before I brought her up. She's a porn star, I think. She does these like challenges where she sleeps with like 1,000 men in one day. Yes. So she was gonna do a challenge where she was gonna sleep with like 2,000 men in a day. I don't really know. I'm Ryan. You can bring the tweet up. So I tweeted. They banned her from OnlyFans. And I tweeted out. Let me pull it up here so I get it.
Sorry, the tweet. The tweet's not working right now.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. I'll just pull it up on my Twitter. That's what this is for. Let's see. So I want to get.
I don't think I've ever met her. Just to be clear.
What was that?
I said I don't think I've ever met her personally.
Okay, good. Honestly, Dad, that's all the power to you. I don't want to. Listen. I tweeted when Bonnie Blue was banned from OnlyFans. I tweeted, banning Bonnie Blue from OnlyFans is wild. That's like banning LeBron from the NBA. People were very mad about this tweet. People were defending. This was like I was stabbing LeBron online, like on a live stream. People were so mad.
So they were mad that you were disrespectful to LeBron.
Yes, I was being don't talk about LeBron that way.
Yeah.
LeBron fans are crazy. I didn't know. Next time I won't touch LeBron. My bad. Ridiculous, right?
Yeah. I wonder where they were from. Were they like the old school Cleveland fans? Or were they from LA or Miami?
It was that, or I was getting a lot of like, this is why women shouldn't have sports takes. I'm like, it's not a sports take. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Come on, take a joke.
It was one analogy.
Yeah. Right. It's 2025. We can't joke anymore. My bad. Like, I apologize, everyone. Okay. So Ryan told me, before I get you out of here, Ryan told me that you have some theory on vodka waters or something. So I need to hear. I thought we could give some of our hangover tips before I get you out of here.
Yeah, no. And I actually do this as I do it as one of my bits or whatever, but the reality is it should. And the bit is like, I say, hey, my doctor, he went to my doctor and he told me I needed to hydrate more. And, we came up with a plan, and now I basically just switched out my mixer, and I made water is my mixer.
Yeah.
And so I've done the math, and if I do 16, and I don't do I do a tall Tito's and water. So 1 shot of Tito's.
What's your order? This is your order at the bar.
Yeah. So what I'll say is hey, tall Tito's water, single orange slice, please. And the orange a little, but I just slice,
huh?
Yeah, and I know it's sometimes it's in a bar, it's a little much, but I'll say lemon if they bulk it. But hey, tall Tito's water. And the idea is that the water, I'm not going to drink a water for every alcoholic beverage I have, which you should. And so say it's like 12 to 14 ounces of water. Basically, if you have 16 drinks, that gives you your 8 glasses plus the 1 for every that you should have for all of the ones that you're drinking. So if you drink 16 of these a day, which I usually do by the end of happy hour, you're in good shape. Now you're going to have to pee a lot, but besides
you're going to be very, you probably don't know a lot about me. I don't really drink water. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. I think it tastes bad. It's not my thing. So that's probably where I get myself into trouble already, is that like, I'm not a water girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of people think it's going to be the vodka taste is going to kill you, and you don't even taste it. It's just like water. That's why I do the lemon or the orange, just to throw.
The orange is a nice touch. If you haven't had, I like orange slices when I take tequila shots.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
That's good.
But it's great. But I tell you, I go through them so fast, and like I do stand-ups.
That's a problem. I think they'd be dangerous for me.
Well, but I'm telling you, you're drinking so much water that I'm never really sloppy. But if I just drink singles, I will be. Or just like a short one, because the water's half. And
the ice ratio is always fucked at bars too.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
That's funny. One of the bartenders at the comedy club I worked at, I was there a long time too, for like a year. And she heard me order it from somebody else, and she goes, "You drink?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she had been making me drinks for like a year, and I guess just never put vodka in them, which is really funny. I'm like, so that was fun.
Do I know a secret?
I didn't even notice.
I was going to do hangover tips, so I'm going to give one little tidbit for people. If you're ever like at your max, which like this has only happened to me like twice, that what you order. I don't even know shout out whoever taught me this. If you were at like a bachelor party, one of these weekends with the boys, and you don't want to seem soft, this is what you order. You go up to the bartender and you order a Red Bull cranberry. That's it. Red Bull cranberry. So if someone's like, "Oh, what are you drinking?" It's like, "Oh, it's a Red Bull cranberry vodka. You want to try it?" If they try it, you can't tell the fucking difference, because you wouldn't be able to taste the vodka anyway. So if you ever need to get yourself out of a situation because you're being soft, that's what you order. Any other hangover tips that you have?
Oh, not really. No,
that's the main one. Do you get hangovers then?
Not really. No. Not really.
All right, I'll rattle off mine. I wrote a couple down here. These are mine. Okay. You literally have to eat before you drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't eat before you drink, you're fucked. I recommend, if you're like drinking a little bit before you go out, you got to have some pretzels, even if it's a handful of pretzels. I don't care what it is. McDonald's Dr. Pepper, but it can't be the first thing in your stomach because it's a little too sugary. Levonaproxen, or this is probably, I went to med school long enough that I can say you leave a little bit next to your bed. So it's the concept of, if you wake up at 3 a.m. and you feel like shit, there's water and Advil already in your bedside drawer. You take care of it. Then you wake up at 7. Guess what? We're ahead of the game here. You just got to get ahead of it. What else do we have? First thing in your stomach next day cannot be something with grease. This is controversial. It has to at least be with carbs. Do something with carbs first and then go greasy. If you go grease first, you're gonna vomit. And then my last one is just don't be a bitch. You just gotta suck it up.
But I tell you, I think the biggest cause of hangovers is all the sugary stuff. You know, for years people would drink like, vodka and this and vodka and that and rum and cokes, and it's just all this stuff. And that's why, again, the water, I think, is your way to freedom.
Yeah. Stay away from green tea shots. You're old and not. Don't do the lemon drop bull. Anytime I go out with my girlfriends, they're like, let's get a shot. I'm like, fucking no. Like, because I know you guys are going to walk up and be like, oh, can we get a lemon drop? Can we get a blow job? No, I don't want the sugar. I'm all right because I know tomorrow I'm not going to be having a very good time.
Oh, I love lemon drops though, dude. That's my.
They're so good. It's a problem. But then you keep going. All right. Give me a prediction for the World Series, and then I will let you get out of here. You are fantastic. Plug whatever you want. I know you wrote a book. Everyone should go buy his book.
Yeah, thank you. 162, the almost epic journey of a Yankees super fan. And this year, okay, you want me to take the Yankees out of it just to not be fair?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, Yankees, Dodgers, again, rematch.
All right, love it. I'm here for it. Absolutely love it. You're fantastic. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on social media, the 162 guy. And that's sort of my tag, 162 guy on Instagram. And thanks so much, Steph. I really enjoyed it, and I love your show. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you. We've got time for my bonus underdog pick on before we get Jake on here to start our team previews, which I'm so excited about. Hopefully you took advantage of the new extender bonus for the NBA Finals. I will remind you of the pick I gave out on a Monday. Finishing position better, I should say. I'm giving out golf. Are you guys shocked? Okay. Finishing position better than 20. Brian Pee Wee Harmon, Russ Henley, who I'm getting nervous about because the public is all over. Xander. That'll get you 6.7x your monies. And then for tomorrow, round 1, I've got Jason Day. Are we writing this down? Jason Day, higher 4.5 birdies or better. Big Hog Hoagie. He hasn't been on these in quite a bit. Lower, 68.5 round strokes. And then Pendy, so Taylor Pendrith, higher 4.5 birdies or better. So sign up with Smalls to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code Smalls. Now is a good time to download, use that first time deposit offer because we'll have Kramer on in, I don't know, a couple weeks. I have to check the schedule. We're going to be doing a best ball draft live on here. You've also heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, fuck the touts. No noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know, I have been, because admittedly, I got a little bored with the NBA Finals. So what I've been doing is just using the Power Trends to place my bets. It's been going very well. I have one for you that I like quite a bit from today's Power Trends. It's TJ McConnell over a half a three-pointer at plus 175. Model hits 79% of the time this season. They have a 58 bet sample, has a win probability of 59. You guys, on and on and on. The numbers are there. We're going to trust the robots with this one. Get your 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And finally, we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup. And golf, obviously. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Not to brag, but I have been kind of going crazy with these, but no one wants to listen. Use promo code SMALLS. Last week, we hit Spieth top 20 after round 1 at plus 320. That was very nice. I got a little spicy spice for you for round 1. Ludwig over Rory, plus 108. I also like Scotty Leader after round 3 at plus 400. kind of a fun way to get in on Scotty since his odds are crap. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SMALLS for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. And now Jake is back on. Jake Ellenbogen. Oh, and you guys, listen, Jake does so many things. It would take another minute to just like list them all. But it's apparently Yankees Day on my show because the guest before you was a Yankees fan. I'm a Yankees fan. You're a Yankees fan. You co-host Yankees Unloaded. How's it going? How are you, my friend?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
The Yankees, on the other hand, are not doing so well.
Yes.
The 29
I'm not
innings.
as captain as everyone, but I do know that they have only won 3 of their, last 10? So it is.
Oh, they haven't scored in 3 straight games. They're facing history today. If they don't score in this game,
crazy.
it is no Yankee team has ever not scored in 4 straight games.
Okay, who's getting a home run then?
I was going to go with Stanton, but he's somehow not in the lineup. So I don't want to talk about that. But let's go with Ben Rice. He's behind the plate. He's catching, making his starting catching debut, I believe. So, yeah, give me Ben Rice. Benny Basmati. There we go.
Basmati. I love that. So I'm starting my team previews. Going to look at last year, this upcoming year, what happened in free agency, all the betting lines, blah, 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 blah. Had to have you on, obviously, for the Rams. So looking at last year, we'll jump right into it. Last year, what? They won, was it 9 of their last 12? Is that correct?
I believe it is, yeah. They were on fire. And
they got hot. They got very, very hot.
Yeah.
They went 10-7, lost in the divisional. We know that. A little bit disappointing. Let's look at like this offseason. I think the big headliner is obviously going to be no more Cooper Kupp, no more Cooper Kupp. Like everyone, okay, but we got Davante Adams coming in now. Did you have some losses in defense? Talk to me about like the additions and free agency, the draft, like what stands out?
Yeah, so I think right away, people probably don't want to hear this, but Cooper Kupp, where he was last year as opposed to where Davante Adams is right now it's an astronomical upgrade. Yeah. It just is. And I hate saying that because it comes off like I'm not appreciative of Cooper Kupp and I'm just tossing him aside.
Cooper Kupp.
But I had said this and I got a lot of flack for saying it. I made a video saying, look, like Cooper Kupp should be benched at this point for Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington. Like I wasn't kidding.
Bring up the 2-2.
I wasn't kidding. And the reality is Kupp has dealt with tightrope surgery twice. Okay. His ankle has been an issue. Obviously we know about the torn ACL, but he came back faster, stronger, and just better after the torn ACL. So it's not the ACL that bothered me. It was the ankle issue. And I just didn't see him winning on those horizontally breaking routes. And believe it or not, you can tell who watched the Rams and who didn't because Cooper Kupp was their deep threat last year. He was. Go back and watch the New England game and he's catching a bomb down the field and they're like, that's not how I'm used to. Exactly. So he did change his game. But the problem was I think they focused so much on trying to keep him inside of this offense and within the game plan that I do think it kind of held back a Tutu Atwell, which they kind of admitted because actions speak louder than words. They give him $10 million for 1 year, something that surprised me. And I love Tutu, but I think Davante Adams is a big thing that can have the Rams looking back at 2021 and saying, we can be that offense. I think when you look all around, they're trying to get a deal done with Kyren Williams, a little easier said than done. The offensive line, they just experienced a hiccup, a bump in the road. Obviously, I hope Alec Jackson is okay. Just first off, like just the person. Yeah. But dealing with blood clots in his leg for the second time in his career. Now they're relying on DJ Humphries, who I think is going to be better than most people, but he still is coming off a season in which he only played 2 games. So there's some concern there. But when you look at what the Rams did this offseason, going out, they did lose.
It's lovely is what it is.
I like what they did a lot. I mean, I thought they had a fantastic offseason. First off, locking in Matthew Stafford doesn't hurt, right? So starting off with that.
Not bad.
Then you go out at running back and you get this player that I think just fit their offense so well. Doesn't matter where I ranked him. I liked him. he wasn't in my top 10, but I felt like he was just a perfect fit for the Rams. And that's Jarquez Hunter, who's going to add just that kind of home run hitting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Doug Martin when he first came out.
Okay.
He's got, some of that power. I think he's stronger than Doug Martin. They used to call him the muscle hamster. I think he's stronger. I do, because he just bounces off guys every which way. He is going to be huge in adding explosives to a team that just didn't have the explosives they've had in years past. Of course, Davante Adams, bringing back Tutu Atwell. But then you look at the tight end position, and surprisingly, they did not move off of Colby Parkinson like I expected. So they're loaded at tight end. I mean, they got Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, who I like.
They just
and then you
Terrance Ferguson.
You add Ferguson, and I'm going to throw a bold thing here, but I think Terrance Ferguson could win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Really?
I do.
That is bold.
Do.
I love it.
He wasn't my favorite tight end either in the draft, but I just think this situation.
I feel like I had to go back and watch him after because the thing about the Rams is I love the way the Rams draft. So like when the Rams draft anyone and they kind of weren't necessarily like on my radar, I'm like, okay, what was I doing when I looked at that player? Because I don't think I sat down and looked at them properly, because the Rams look at what they've done, especially, in like McVay's time. We'll just use that. Like they've done a really good job getting the most out of every single pick. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm like, they spot something I don't see. That's fine. I need to go back and take a look. And Ferguson, I think, is, again, even in this offense, I think it's such a nice fit. You kind of segue me right to, I want to talk about this team fantasy-wise before we get into like the betting part of it. So I think the biggest thing is everyone's worried about Kyren and the deal and this and that. I think everyone just needs to like not panic as much as they are panicking about it. It's not that serious. It's going to happen. I know that another worry is that, they draft running backs and they get rid of it. I think Kyren is this is a different situation we're dealing with. Kyren is the running back one, period. Do you agree with that?
No, I agree. I think, all right, so this is what I'll say. Okay. Kyren Williams.
You're making me nervous.
So if hear me out. If you're a dynasty fantasy player, okay?
Yeah.
Like typically speaking, you're going to want to monitor this more than anybody else, because Kyren Williams' most value, I think, is with the Rams. It's how they use him. It's how the lion's share of the carries. Okay. But I also still think he's top 10 in the league at the position. And I think he's incredibly underrated because he doesn't give you the explosives and he's had some fumbling concerns. But when you look at this guy, like obviously from a fantasy perspective, you're not necessarily getting pass pro. I mean, I'm sure maybe somebody's figured out how to reward somebody for pass protection points, but you're not getting that, right? Yeah. So what does that do for you? Well, what it does is it gives you a guy that you are guaranteeing is going to be on the field for all 3 downs. And we see it all the time. You and I have talked ad nauseum because we've been on each other's shows back to back. I think we've done it over 10 times now. And we always talk about how a running back needs to be able to pass protect or he's not getting on the field. I don't care how good he is. If he's going to get my quarterback killed, it's a net negative, right? So with Kyren, I think people are really like overreacting to this because he is not held out. He has no plans to hold out during training camp. He is not holding out during the regular season. If a deal doesn't happen, a deal doesn't happen. But he is going to be the starter for the LA Rams, and that's just the reality of it. They love him there. They want to get a deal done. Obviously, stranger things have happened, and maybe if, Kyren and, I forget who represents him, the same guy that represented Antonio Brown. I don't know why. Rosenhaus. Drew Rosenhaus. So if Rosenhaus and Kyren just, throw a bird or whatever and, just get us out of here, okay, I can't predict that. But got to be honest with you, I feel really good about Kyren Williams this season, and I think anybody should. And you know who else I feel pretty good about? Blake Corum, because I think everybody's sleeping on him too. And I think he can add something in the receiving game. And then you look at, Hunter, and it's like, as much as I want to be like, yeah, Hunter's just, he's the guy that you bring in to hit a home run. That's what Hunter is. He's not a great pass protector right now. So you don't want him out there a ton. And since you have kind of this youthful exuberance of guys that aren't necessarily the best pass protectors, Kyren doesn't really have much competition there.
Yeah. Yeah. A little food for thought. Is that the right phrase? Why I'm so tired today. Is that you say food for thought, whatever it is. I'm going to just read off in PPR the top 15 RBs in fantasy last year. Gibbs, Barkley, Robinson, Henry, A-Chain, Jacobs, Williams, number 7, Cook, Alvin Kamara, Chase Brown, James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky, Aaron Jones, and Chuba. A lot of those guys people would say were very unsexy going into the season. So sometimes it's not the sexiest guy. It's who the fuck is going to be on the field. That's what I need to know. Who's going to be on the field? Who is going to get the ball?
Who saw Bucky coming? Who saw Bucky?
Yeah, I would love to hear that. I would love to hear someone tell me that they saw that coming.
Come on.
Two other names. We mentioned Ferguson. I'm pissed. I'm in a startup dynasty. I wanted to draft him. I did get sniped. He was the 46th pick in the draft this year. I think he's a great pick in dynasty right now. If you are in a startup or in your rookie drafts, even don't waste your time on some of these other guys. I really like Terrance Ferguson and I like Mason Taylor. I've said it a bunch of times, but those are two tight ends that I like taking because I think you get good value on them.
Yes. This is how I said it during the draft with the Rams. If Ferguson was getting picked up by the St. Louis Rams with not the same GM and didn't have Sean McVay, I wouldn't like that pick at all. I just wouldn't, because I do think there is a learning curve there as a blocker that'll keep him on the field. But when it comes to Sean McVay, who was a tight ends coach, and when it comes to this organization that's done a really nice job developing these guys, and keep in mind, I'm sure you've heard this, and this is probably just annoying at this point, the Rams tried to trade up to get Brock Bowers. They tried to trade up and get Dalton Kincaid.
Everyone tries to trade up for everyone. I've heard this about every team. Yeah, but they wanted Jackson Dart. Is that the story?
No, they never wanted Jackson Dart.
I was
I don't buy that for a second. No, I'll tell you who they wanted. They wanted him bad. They wanted Tedoroa McMillan badly.
Really?
Badly, yes. They could not get up there, though. And then it got reported, of course, that they did, but I don't think people realize the degree of how much they wanted this guy. So clearly they have a high grade on him. He might be the highest grade. Who knows? But, I feel like looking at Ferguson, the way McVay has talked about him, he sees Chris Cooley. They're talking about comparing him to Travis Kelce. I think that's them kind of speaking, not necessarily on his talent, but more so this is how we plan on using him. And that gets me excited because I think Tyler Higbee is a model of consistency. When he is healthy, he is exactly what you want at the position. He can block, he can get open, he can make plays after the catch, he can make guys miss. And that seems to be kind of the mold that Terrance Ferguson has. I mean, I don't think he's the best blocker, but he's good enough to come in. So
yeah,
I'm telling you right now, I've seen a lot where Ferguson's apparently already working with Stafford and the ones and everything. Ferguson is going to get an opportunity. And I think the first game against the Texans, he's just going to eat over the middle. And then after
first
that,
touchdown.
it might honestly be. And after that, Stafford and Ferguson, they're going to be inseparable. It's going to be, but I'll tell you right now, the only thing that might hurt his case at offensive rookie of the year is because I think Davante Adams is going to lead the entire league in touchdowns. I think
we're going to get to that.
This was the 22nd ranked offense in the red zone. They went out and got Davante Adams, who's the master of the red zone back shoulder fade that they love to throw. And they went out and got Terrance Ferguson. And I think those two are going to be huge and monumental for getting this offense back into the top 10.
I'm that Stephen A. Smith where he's with his drink. That's what right now while we're talking about that. No, I'm with you. I'm going to save it because I want to talk about that a little bit towards the end. So I'm saving it because I am glad that you brought that up, honestly. But I need one last fantasy name. Hopefully no one in my startup that I'm in right now is looking at him. You got to tell me about Whittington. What is it? Is he worth the pick or what? I mean, we're late. We're late here. So look at me selfishly. I'm we're going to do a team preview, but also should I draft him in the 20th round?
So you're talking about just this year, not a dynasty.
This is a dynasty.
Oh, it's a dynasty? Yeah, of course.
20th round. He's there in the
Of course. All right. Here's my pitch about Whittington. Okay. So
he's queued up. I'm not lying, everyone.
I mean, I love this guy since he was at Texas. So Whittington is a guy that was getting first team reps last year in camp.
Okay.
And
We
I was
like
hearing
that.
more and more. And then everything you saw on tape at Texas, keep in mind, he was bottled up by all the guys. I mean, you talk about Bijan Robinson, Roshan Johnson, those are just the running backs. But then you get into the kid that they drafted, Carolina drafted, the tight end. And then you have, what's his face? The guy for the Colts. There were so many different, and then of course, you got, I can't remember anybody right now. The Chiefs guy, right? So you have all Worthy.
Right.
So you have all these guys that were covering
I'm
up.
who are you? I'm like, what guys are we talking about, Jay?
Yeah, now I'll remember them all: Jatavion Sanders, Worthy, and Adonai Mitchell. Okay. Point being, right? All these guys at Texas, Jordan Whittington gets totally forgotten about. And I'm watching him because I'm like, the Rams are going to draft a late round wide receiver. They just are. And I come across Whittington's tape. I'm like, this is their guy. I have a TikTok where I say, this is the guy. He screams Ram to me. They're going to draft him. And they do. And it doesn't surprise me because you look at this player and he plays like a running back with the ball in his hand. Very similar to Sammy Watkins coming out of Clemson.
Yeah,
but
I was just about to say.
But it's his pass protection and obviously run blocking. Like when he's asked to do it, he's so good. He's so good as a blocker. They would bring him in.
We want guys on the field.
They love him. They really do. And keep in mind who he's been around. Okay. He is sucking up all the knowledge from Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, Sean McVay, and Matthew Stafford. Okay. It does not get any better than that. So look, if it's a dynasty league, absolutely. This year, even still, I might consider taking a flyer on him just for this year fantasy. And again, Tutu Atwell isn't just going to play every single snap. He's not, because he's a different type of player. Whittington.
But boy, are we going to bet on him this year.
Tutu Atwell?
Yes, I'm gonna bet him in
every single game. You should be taking a flyer on his longest reception. That's all I'm hearing, by the way.
Low.
That's all I'm hearing is like, I understand it's not training camp yet, but it's like, oh my God. If like the defense is like, if they're going to use Tutu like that, woo.
He's so good.
He
I feel like everyone needs to love and respect Tutu the way that I do. Like we should we should bet his longest reception every
That's what I'm saying.
This season and see how much we end up with.
You'll probably win. If he plays every game, you'll win 12 out of 17 guaranteed.
I agree with that. That's exactly the number I was going to say. Exactly the number. All right, let's talk with the win total. It's sitting at 9.5. Minus 150, I saw at MGM. I saw it at minus 136.35 at Bet Rivers. Their strength of schedule. Listen, I'm not really a strength of schedule person unless we're talking like really towards the top, really low towards the bottom. Like an injury can change all of this very quickly. They're about middle of the pack regardless. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you look at the division, they're like, it's going to be what it is. I think this is a crazy line to set it at, kind of.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I get it.
I
get it. Yeah.
I'm okay with it because I feel like there are a lot of people that are still there are people really high on the Rams, people that I really respect. I mean, I think Rich Eisen has them really winning it or at least getting to the Super Bowl. So I'm one of those people, I kind of like to have that balance where, a lot of people are high on, but then a lot of people are low on them. I feel like, they are. A lot of people are low on the Rams. They overrate how like the cornerbacks are. They're like, they need Ramsey. They don't need Ramsey. Ramsey helps. I would love to have Ramsey. They don't need Ramsey. They want Ramsey. There's a difference.
You know what it is? They don't have household names on their secondary, and that's why people do this. I noticed this now. This is like a thing in social media where it's like, oh, the secondary sucks. No, the secondary actually doesn't suck as bad as you're saying. It's just you don't know any of the players.
I say this all the time. It's the unproven talent argument. It's, oh, they're unproven, so they're bad. Yeah. It's like, no, they're unproven, so we don't know what they are. But here's the reality. Okay, when you go back through the playoffs, and this is why I keep making the argument, the Rams have a better secondary than Seattle. They have the best secondary in this division. I don't care what anyone says. When you look at the safeties, they have 4 starting safeties, 4 starting caliber safeties. You got Cam Curl, you got Cam Kinchins, who
you got my boy
Kinchins is awesome.
Love him.
He's fun to watch.
He's a dog. I hate when people say that.
He is though. So I'll got to give you that one. Quentin Lake and Jalen McCullough, who by the way had 4 interceptions last year. A lot of people don't know that. UDFA out of Tennessee. Of course they don't. Then you got the corners, and a lot of people need to understand that last year, like, because it always gets brought up, week 2 Arizona, Marvin Harrison Jr., blah, 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 whatever. Okay, I don't know how many of those guys were actually starting at the end of the year, but I can tell you right now, the most important thing was that Tre'Davious White was on the roster and Akello Witherspoon was not, as you can see that jersey in the background. Akello Witherspoon, Darius Williams, and Kobe Durant shut down Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jordan Addison when it mattered the most in the postseason. And to me, I would argue, as much as I love the defensive front and they are absolutely disgusting, they hide what is actually happening because they get the sack, but we forget everyone was yelling at Sam Darnold to throw the ball because he had all day to throw. That is the coverage. That's a coverage sack. So we just say, well, we just chalk it up to, we just talk it up to, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner. And look, I love them. I think they're great. But what happens when they don't get there quick enough? Now the secondary has to cover for a lot longer. And so that's essentially what was happening. And so I think I look at this cornerback room, and I'll tell you right now, keep your eye on Emmanuel Forbes Jr., former first-round pick, for a reason. They've really worked on him.
I call him chicken legs.
Hey, he added 10 pounds of muscle. I couldn't see it.
I'd love to hear it. He's fantastic, but he definitely needed to put weight on.
I couldn't see it, but that's what they tell me, is he had 10 pounds of muscle on. So I feel
like 10 pounds, probably, who knows where it went. You've got to keep
probably the arms, even though it should have gone to the legs. It's hard to get, it is what it is. But no, I think people are really sleeping on the Rams. This feels like another one of those Super Bowl teams. Would go as far as to say, until, and obviously Alaric Jackson, that throws a wrench in it, but I think he'll be back. I think this is the best roster McVay has had as a coach with the Rams. And keep in mind, he's going to 2 Super Bowls with rosters that I'm saying were not as good as this roster. So yeah, I think this is the best Rams roster Sean McVay has had to work with. Last year, it was good. It was underrated, but it wasn't like the best. And they knew that. They were able to make more, moves this offseason. It sucks some of the guys that they lost, but they're able to add, certain guys. And I thought they killed the draft. I thought they killed UDFA, getting, Sean Dolak, the Buffalo linebacker.
Ford or whatever. Didn't they add?
Poona Ford. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. It sucked to lose Bobby Brown, but you get Poona Ford, and now I agree.
Oh, no, cry me a river.
Yeah. Well, hey, Bobby's my guy, so.
I know he is. I know he is. But I do like Ford. I do like Ford quite a bit. Like, I think they were able to take, there's losses, and that's where there's going to be, and I was reading an article just about like the win total, and I think that everyone's argument is going to be about the defense. And I think it's also taking away from what they've done, and it's not understanding their capable. It's the
Eagles game.
I wouldn't worry about the defense as much as everyone is saying.
It's the Eagles game. If the Rams win against the Eagles, they absolutely would have trounced the Commanders. I have no doubt about it. And the Rams know that. They felt like that game when they played the Eagles, the growing consensus in the locker room was, this is the Super Bowl. Like, they are the best team. We couldn't beat them earlier in the year. I know. I was at SoFi. It was brutal. But that was the growing consensus. And they felt like they're 14 yards away. They didn't see it ending any differently than them winning that game. So it was down to the wire. But the issue I have with that game is I don't feel like people took that game away and was like, wow, the Rams are right there. Some people did. But a lot of it is, they have no run defense. No, Saquon was like dicing up everyone. Okay. I don't have to tell you that. So it's not just that the Rams don't have a run defense. It's that Saquon Barkley made them look like they didn't have a run defense. So, yeah.
I'm producer Ryan, remind me I need to take like 18 Adderalls to stay on track. So I'm going to completely ignore what you just said so that I do not go off track right now. But with the win total, this is how I think I would play it. This is, I sat down. I was like, They've only had one losing season under McVay. They're not going to have a losing season. It's just not going to happen. You're going to hear a lot of, when we talk about the Rams, going to be a lot of Stafford's health. If he stays healthy, okay, that's going to be the thing. Got it. Cool. I hear you guys. Oh my God, you ageist. I think instead of taking the over, which is I think you just take the over 11.5 at plus 210.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you just ride it that way. Like in the last 8 years, they have only missed the 9.5 mark twice. And one of those years, it was 9. Like, this is not a team that they've had a lot of 10-win years, as you know. I think what you do is I think you actually take an alt line on them. I think the 9.5 I'm not touching, to be honest, at that number. But I would rather, if I'm getting in at the 11.5 at plus 210.
Yeah, make it profitable. No, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you look at this team and last year, they go 10-7. They went 10-7 because they sat their starters and still almost won the last game of the year. And the games that they lost at the beginning of the year, they were in. I mean, people forget the first game of the year against the Lions were considered way better. And the Rams went toe-to-toe with them, took them to overtime, despite 4 of the 5 offensive linemen going out in the game, losing Puka Nacua in the second quarter. You know what I mean? Like, it was not easy. And that same defense that everybody craps on, and that was not the best iteration of that defense, did a really nice job in that game. And they just got tired out, in overtime. So it goes to show you, people will still go back to Arizona week 2 game and kind of just make fun of this defense. But if you don't have all the facts, I mean, look at what they did against San Francisco. Look at what they did. The offense, look at what they did against Buffalo. And how they stayed in that game and they won that game. They beat the Bills. They beat Josh Allen. Yeah. I mean, he had 6 touchdowns in that game and they still found a way to win. And then after that, the defense was sensational down the stretch. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of people that get it and they know. And, Sean McVay is not a coach to, just, forget about. But there's still those people out there that's more like hopeful than actually like they believe it. I see it all the time. It's like, oh, well, Stafford's going to hit a wall. What if he's not going to hit a wall? What if he can still sling it? And I believe he can.
I mean, we see it. It's also not, and I don't know if this is part of just like growing up and watching like our favorite quarterbacks kind of decline earlier than we're seeing now. It's 2025. You know what I mean? So we're living in a different time. It's not the same.
It's true.
Like the 30 of 15 years ago is not the 30 today. We're not talking about the same thing here. It's very different. I think the division, and I gave out the Rams to win the division probably, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at what number I got. Must have been at least 2 whenever they started dropping lines. It was probably plus 220. It's down to plus 195. I think it's egregious. I think it is crazy that the 49ers are the favorite to win this division at plus 150. I don't know how heavily they are putting into whatever they use to set these lines. The easiest schedule thing.
I'm okay with it.
Lucky. I know what do you play? The AFC and NFC South. And they happen to also pull the Bears, Giants, and Browns. I got it. Again, listen, the Bears may not be an easy win like we've seen in the past. Giants defense is going to be tougher than people expect. And the Browns defense is still going to be good. So I don't know that they just cakewalk all of those. Like, I think that those games are getting way too much love when we talk about the 49ers here. They lost Ward, Hufanga. Who else they lose? Greenlaw. I like the 49ers. I like their win total over. I think they go over the 10.5 wins. I think the schedule is easy. I think that they kind of get their lick back this year. But like, my money is still on the Rams to win this division. Like, I'm not talking about the Rams. I mean the 49ers. I like the 49ers this year. I won't lie. But
I do too. I have them pretty high.
It's a little iffy for me.
Yeah. I have the Rams at 13-4.
Okay.
I have the 49ers at 11-6. I have Seattle at 10-7 and the Cardinals at 9-8. I have every single team going over 500 in the NFC West.
Yeah, I could see it. I like listen, I think people are going to sleep on Seattle a little bit, but I'll save that for the Seattle show.
They already are, because people are trying to tell me the other day on an NFC West roundtable show I was doing. They're trying to tell me that Jonathan Gannon's a better coach than McDonald. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think McDonald is really good. Like,
yeah.
I think the underrated thing is people are going to talk about Cooper Kupp, but watch if DeMarcus Lawrence stays healthy. That was just an addition on that defense I think people are sleeping on.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Okay, and then we talk about the conference. And again, let me just repeat back what they lost in the Rams lost in the divisional game, okay? Okay, great. Now that we all know that.
Yep.
I want to take it a step further to win 11-1. Okay. The Eagles are the favorite at plus 300. Then you've got the Lions, the Commanders, you sickos. That is insane, to be clear. I'm not even being a hater. That is crazy at plus 900.
That was my sleeper team last year, but I feel like they're going to kind of dive off a little bit this year.
It's just the roster is not there for them to repeat the same time. For them to be.
They have a stronger they have a stronger schedule now. So that's.
Thank you. And the division is also going Cowboys are not going to be a cakewalk. Giants are going to be a little bit tougher. Whatever. We have tough schedules this year as well. We have to play the NFC North plus 900, third favorite. That's that is crazy. And then 49ers and then Green Bay, they're both at 10-1. Rams are 11-1.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm enjoying this because the only team you can say is better than the Rams is Philly. That's it. I think the Rams are a better team than the Lions. I think the Lions are going to drop off because I think people are going to find out how important Ben Johnson was to that team. And
I'm such a hater on it, but maybe you can knock some sense into me.
Well, all right. So hear me out. Jared Goff is at his best when he's comfortable, when things are going according to plan.
Yeah.
You go back and you look at 2016, it was an absolute dumpster fire. He started 7 games, didn't win a game. It was it looked just like Troy Aikman, right? And then everyone's like, oh, he's going to be like Troy Aikman. And he starts off slow and then he kind of did, right? Sean McVay comes in. Sean McVay Taylor makes the offense around the things that he's good at, the things he's not good at, he avoids. And then all of a sudden they go to the Super Bowl. And Jared Goff runs into an absolute train, because think about this. It was before that. It was Vic Fangio with the Bears. He exposed Jared Goff and the things that he was bad at. So knowing Bill Belichick, because he looks at everything, every minute detail, Belichick created a game plan that was kind of around what Vic Fangio had. And all of a sudden, people started to figure out, when you pressure Jared Goff, he's really just an ordinary dude. He's not a great quarterback back there. Now, people can say that about anybody, but when you pressure Jared Goff, when you start hitting Goff and he's not comfortable in the pocket, good God. And when you take away the play action game, Goff needs play action. So
no one knows you like your ex.
Oh, yeah. So next season, you have, the guys leave. Guys like Ndamukong Suh, what have you, certain players leave because they can't pay them because they just paid Jared Goff. After they pay Jared Goff, the quality of the roster goes down. They don't have those same guys. They weren't able to bring back a Roger Saffold. Then they have injuries on their offensive line, and you start to see the struggling nature of it. Then 2020 comes around, and this guy doesn't have 1,000-yard receiver. It's not that Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp couldn't have gone over 1,000 yards. It's that they were averaging, I think, under 10 yards per catch because Kupp was just dinking and dunking, or Goff. So the point being is that he went from a guy that's like, I'm going to steal your soul, going up against Patrick Mahomes 1v1 in 2018 and one of the best games we've ever seen. And then where is that? That guy never showed up again for the Rams after the Super Bowl. So now you move on to the Lions. Took him a little bit. Then Ben Johnson gets him comfortable, and eventually he has just a well-oiled machine. But what happens when you remove one cog from that well-oiled machine? It doesn't work the same. I'm telling you right now, Ben Johnson was essentially that cog to keep everything together, and the Lions will still be good, and Goff will still be good, but he won't be looking like he's great, I don't think, again, until he's comfortable.
I don't know, Jake. I am not. The Ben Johnson stuff is I think it's getting too much hype right now.
No,
I hope
Ben
it works
Johnson
out
was
for everyone.
doing.
I'm skeptical. I'm not going to lie to you because he's going to have to go to the Bears. and now we're going off track. But I feel like his offense has always been like the foundation is a strong running game. You're not fucking getting that in Chicago. You're not getting a strong running game.
No, that's fair. But I feel like looking at Ben Johnson at the beginning, or not the beginning, looking at Sean McVay at the beginning, like when he first became the head coach and Goff and all of that. Goff, and this is the big thing here. Goff had Todd Gurley, right? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of built that offense around that. And they were able to keep that confidence high. They didn't have to make too many changes. After the Super Bowl, everyone now knew his weaknesses. So I don't know if I explained that the perfect way, but everyone knew his weaknesses after the Super Bowl. Sean McVay's weaknesses were put on film. And then Sean McVay had to adapt. He had to completely change the offense. Todd Gurley was no longer the best running back in football anymore. So it put more of an emphasis on him. So I see a comment here focusing too much on Goff, not on Gibbs, Montgomery, Laporta, etc. I get that. That's actually a good point. Because when you look at that, yes, that Gibbs and Montgomery, that allows that to be the case. But the thing that is not talked about is that Ben Johnson was running that offense just like Sean McVay did before he got exposed. And that, to me, is the biggest thing.
I don't know. Maybe it'll change. We'll see where I'm at. I don't know when our Lions review is, but I feel like I don't know why I'm headed that way. We're gonna go back to the Rams before I don't
know how I feel about the Bears, to be fair. I'm just telling you the Lions I think are gonna fall off a little bit.
That is totally fair. Super Bowl 26-1. 20-1 is the shortest I see. I'm personally probably not betting it. I would rather. That's the type of bet I place when, they lose 4 games and then the number gets a little bit longer. Like, that's the type of bet I place on this team.
Yeah, I typically go all in and I just take my 2 teams and
you're
I'm just
you're allowed to be a homer right now.
This is the Super Bowl. So if I was going to do that, because I don't know why. I just keep thinking about the Bengals, and I don't know why. Because honestly, today,
I don't know what everyone's obsession is with the Bengals.
I think it's just because they're due now, their little pattern of being not good and not good and whatever. No, I'm gonna say I hate to do this because this just feels like broken record, and I feel like I say this every year. I feel like it's gonna be Rams Bills.
You're jumping ahead to my exit question. It's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I
want something different.
I just do.
I'm tired. I don't want to see the same damn teams in the Super Bowl every single year. Let's run through some of these player lines before we start wrapping up here. Stafford's passing yards is at 37.50.5. It's -110. To both sides. Okay, he's played in the league, I think it's 16 seasons. He only didn't go over this 4 times, and of those, he played 10 games or less. So it's very hard for me to sit here, but I don't really like taking overs because if he gets injured, then we're in a weird spot. But I think the line is set fairly. I'm not betting on it, but I respect the line.
If it was 3,400, I'd probably, But yeah, and it also, I feel like Stafford's kind of becoming that Aaron Rodgers where it's I'm not throwing a ton of yards anymore, but I'm just being accurate and efficient and throwing touchdowns. But then again, I could say that. And I will say, though, I think Tutu Atwell and all those guys, I do think he's going to get over. I think he probably is over 4,000 again pretty easily as long as, health is permit. I don't,
That's the thing with these lines. Health is everything here. Kyren's rushing line, I'll say, stood out to me because this is this feels disrespectful. It's 1,500. Really? Yeah. He's flown. He's gone over this by 200 to 400 yards both seasons. This is also -110 to both sides. If I'm taking overs, I'm very cautious in what I do, and I know that there's injury involved. I do not hate this number.
Yeah, I like it. What's never talked about is Kyren Williams essentially could not stay healthy. That was the big thing in 2023, but no one talked about how the offense was lost without him. 2024, he not only stayed healthy, Steph, get this, 4th all time last year, including the postseason, the 4th most snaps. Okay. Or excuse me, touches. We won't even get into snaps. Touches. Okay.
Yeah.
For a player in Rams history. The other 3 single season, the same dude, Eric Dickerson, who ran like 400 times a year.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. A guy that all of a sudden, he can't stay healthy, and then he plays every single game and has the 4th most snaps touches in Rams history, including the postseason. So, I'm going to take that. I think he's a durable player, and he's durable because first off, the injury that he had, it was against Buffalo in 2022. It was on the kickoff. A lot of people, no one talks about this. It was on the kickoff. He's standing there after they blew the whistle, and some dude comes barreling into his ankle. Like, oh yeah, it's injury prone.
That's funny. Yeah.
Oh
my God. That word. You people need to relax with the injury prone thing until they're actually injury prone. Puka is receiving yards. I'm a little bit tempted here to take the under, actually. 1,200 and a half.
Ooh, that's high.
Games. That's a high. I don't know about this one, Jake. He missed 6 games. He had 990 yards, 3 touchdowns. Was that last season? And then his rookie year, 1,400 plus yards with 6 touchdowns.
I'd stay away from it.
He goes right under this. Like, I think we're looking at an 1195.
Do you really want to sweat that and then have it be week 18?
I'm taking the under so easy at -110, I think. And it's no offense to Puka. I think Puka is going to have a lovely season. 1,200 and a half is a sharp line.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern about Puka Nacua is just all the cooks in the kitchen, which is too many right now. I think he's still going to be very productive. There's no concern if you're a Rams fan, but if you're a fantasy football owner, there's some concern there. And definitely the injuries are a concern, in my opinion, because he didn't miss any games in 2023. That doesn't mean he wasn't hurt. He was hurt almost all of 2023. Yeah. Injured and hurt are 2 different things, but you don't want your like every time it seems like, he makes some crazy catch or whatever, and then the next play he gets hit, and he's kind of like slowly getting up off the mat, and you see it, and eventually at some point you're going to lose a lot of that production because Nacua is going to adapt his game. He knows he can't play like every single, I mean, you watch him and you're like, he plays like everything is a car accident and he's the rag doll.
Yeah.
So 100%. It's not sustainable.
Which brings us to Adams. 950 and a half. The over is +100.
Oh, give me that all day.
Yeah.
And do you have his touchdowns by chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
8.5.
Oh,
and
easily.
The over is +110.
Easily.
Yeah. And I think he's hungry. I think Adams now is in a situation, he was at the rate, like all these different places. He's hungry. Like if you watched, I didn't get through a lot of it, admittedly, the Receiver show on Netflix. He really wants to be on a winning team. Like that is what he wants so badly. So I think we see a different Adams this year. You get Stafford throwing him the ball.
He's happy again.
He's happy.
You can see it.
Yes, I love it. So I do like the over 8.5. I think we see him get,
I think he could have like 16, 17 touchdowns. I really do. I mean, I'm not just saying that. Like, you see his skill set and you see, the Rams offense and how they always try to throw that back shoulder fade, but they don't have anybody to do it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You got somebody to do that.
On a silver platter. And there's a reason why. And then you look at Puka, his receiving touchdowns is set at 5.5, which I think is a fair line. Admittedly, the over is probably a little bit more enticing. But the most he's ever had is 6. I know he's only been 2 years, so it's not like we have a big sample size. But I think that's a very fair line, and there's a reason why Adams is set higher and his receiving yards are lower. Like it's right there for you. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like who's kind of ruined Davante Adams persona, if you will. It's definitely DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, I was gonna say Aaron Rodgers.
No, it's DeAndre Hopkins because people saw him fall off a cliff, and you know how DeAndre Hopkins and Davante Adams and like that like kind of group that was like our elite receivers that we watched pretty much most of our life, and now they're getting old. Well, Hopkins isn't a starting receiver anymore. He's just not. Davante Adams is still a top 10 receiver in the league.
And you know what the thing is too with Davante Adams? I'm just thinking now, he's like not done a lot lately. Like it's a good thing. Like there's so much in the tank right now. He has a lot to give to a team. This is the perfect
lots
team
of treads left.
Yes, lots of treads left. Like he has not been doing a lot. Not a lot happening on the Jets. Not a lot
that Jaguars game.
Like
you see that?
What?
The Jaguars game, didn't he have almost 200 yards in that game? There you go.
He is there. He is like he's still very much there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Last three, and then I will finally start wrapping up, getting out of here. You mentioned, actually, we'll just do this one. You mentioned most receiving yards in the league. I saw an Adams 40-1. Puka is 11-1. He is just behind CD.
I would say receiving touchdowns. Receiving yards is that's I need a guy to be a little bit more like Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, more explosive, I would say.
Would you flirt with the Puka 11-1, or is it too short for you?
No, because I think if I had to put money on anything, I would say there's actually a chance Malik Neighbors leads the league in receiving yards.
I've been giving it out for months, and no one listens to me, but maybe you guys will listen because Jake is here now. I gave it out when it was like 16-1. It's down to 10-1. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's a huge shift. I did notice, and we'll talk about it when I have a Cowboys. That Cowboys are getting respected by the books outside of their win total, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so if you had to pick between most passing yards, you have to bet one of these. Most passing yards to Stafford, that's at 14-1. Ahead of him is Stroud, Purdy, Allen, Mayfield, Goff, Mahomes, Prescott, and Burrow. Most rushing yards, Kyren is 25-1. He had the 7th move last year. We talked about that. He was 1 yard shy of 1,300 yards. Bucky, Josh, Jacobs, Genty, Gibbs, Bijan, Taylor, CMC, Henry, Saquon. I'd be so careful at the top there because these guys got used a lot. What are you betting? Are you betting the most receiving yards to be Puka, most rush, Kyren, or Stafford most passing?
The most likely there is probably Stafford passing.
Okay. I think
it's not likely.
I gave it out at 20-1 like a couple months ago, I feel like.
It's not extremely likely because I still think they want to have a balanced offense. But say if they're just like, if it's Sean McVay of old and he's like, we're not running the ball, we're just going to throw it all over the yard, Stafford definitely has a shot. Puka, I just worry about the injuries. I think he has the capability to lead the league in receiving, but at the same time, I just tend to lean towards more of the explosive Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill built players. And then, I love Kyren, but I don't think Kyren has any chance because we're now seeing a resurgence from running backs. They can actually get to 1,900 yards, 2,000 yards rushing now. And that's not something that we were seeing the last 4 years. So
maybe we're staying away from the Rams as far as stat leaders go, but it has nothing to do with it. I think that's a fair take. Okay. Last few here, we'll rapid fire them. Final record prediction. I'm also going to ask the Magic 8 Ball because I'm doing it with everything. I'm taking the over 9.5. Where are you at?
13-4.
Okay. I'm going to take 10 and whatever the hell they did. Was it last year? They did 10-7. Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball says. Signs point to yes. We are all in agreement that they're going over the 9.5. Okay. Give me your prediction for the division. How is it going to finish out?
Yeah, so I have the Rams 13-4. The 49ers, I think I said earlier, 11-6. Seattle 10-7, and Arizona 9-8.
Okay. Next year breakout candidate.
Like 2026?
No, like this year. Sorry.
Okay. I was like,
I forget that we're close. All right, I'm forgetting.
Breakout candidate.
This upcoming season, who is the breakout candidate?
Does it have to be on the Rams or anybody?
You can be anybody. Sure, why not?
Okay. I'll probably stick to the Rams. I'm gonna go with Terrance Ferguson.
Love it.
Just because, again, and I need to make this clear, I had a higher grade on Loveland. I had a higher grade on Warren. I had an astronomically high grade on Harold Fant Jr., who I think when it's all said and done, is probably my favorite tight end in this draft.
Yeah.
But I hate where he went. Like I hate it so much.
That.
Awful. So Ferguson came out to be, I think he was my 6th tight end. But as far as where he went, I just think this is such a great fit for him. So I think they're going to use Ferguson right away. And I think he is the breakout guy. Like if he is 3rd in receiving yards this year on the team, I wouldn't be surprised. So that's who I got. And
who are we drafting in fantasy on the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, you can draft
all of them.
Yeah, you could really draft any of them because, you always have an argument to draft Corum and Hunter for handcuff reasons. Matthew Stafford, obviously. And then, Adams, Puka, Tutu, Whittington. I would stay away from anybody after that.
Okay.
In the wide receiver room. Higbee is still probably a decent start, 4 catches, say 60 yards. Like if he does that, you get 10 points there if it's a PPR. Ferguson, stay away from Parkinson and Allen.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say that's it. I mean, I could be totally wrong. They might be really, really, really high on the Pittsburgh kid, Konate Mumfield. Okay. I don't suspect I look at 2nd round pick Van Jefferson back when they drafted him. And I just remember he got off to a great start, was used week 1 a ton against Dallas. And then they kind of redshirted him. That's what I see from Mumfield, but I don't think he's as talented as Van was. So yeah, I don't think if anybody emerges, right? All right. I'll give you one dude. If anybody emerges, whoa.
Yeah.
Jarquez Hunter, because that probably means that Kyren went down or he was traded like it was Ernest Jones last year.
Yeah. All right.
But I don't see him.
Who is
traded.
the guy to keep your eyes on next year? It could be defense, offense, anyone. Who is the keep your eyes on this kid?
Oh, I'm gonna go bias here. Number 4, he's wearing 44 in the background. Akello Witherspoon.
Let's do it.
I think he is the most disrespected corner in the league. I don't know why people act like he's a 5'7", $165 corner. Dude is 6'4", 200 something pounds, and he runs a 4.3. So he's an athletic freak. We all saw him when he stretched out the longest arms you've ever seen, and he had that interception against the Cardinals. He
won me money. We like that.
I'll say this right now. Okay, here's my rationale behind it. Not just because I like him.
Right. Akello
was really good on the Steelers when he got a full training camp. And then he got hurt. Okay. And then after that, the Steelers ended up drafting Joey Porter Jr. They cut Akello right after the draft. So he ends up going to the Rams. And he didn't even get really a chance to have it a full off-season program with the Rams. Yeah. Then the following year, the Rams, even though he was their number 1 corner, he allowed a 48%, catch rate. The Rams decide not to bring him in. They go with Tre'Davious White, total mistake there, and Darius Williams. Williams has an injury. Tre'Davious White is terrible. We know the whole thing. They end up basically signing Akello back almost instantaneously after the Arizona game. And he ends up being huge down the stretch. He had 3 pass breakups in the 49er game on a Thursday, was really important in the playoffs. Obviously, we saw the strip sack against Sam Darnold in the wild card round. So he can do those things. But the big thing about Akello is that this is a guy that quite literally has never had a home. It's always he has to wait and sign when they want him. Yeah. The Rams wanted him so bad. They finally were like, all right, we're not playing games. We want you. We're going to bring you back. They gave him a bonus and he came back. And I've been told he is their number 1 corner. It's his job to lose. And he's been their best corner since Ramsey was traded. So I think this year is the year people finally start to realize, wow, that Akello Witherspoon guy is really good. And they need to stop looking at San Francisco. They need to stop looking at Seattle, because Seattle fans have this kind of feeling about him. It's like you have no ground to stand on, because Akello played there for like, I think it was one preseason game, and they traded him away. And then he went to the Steelers and he was really good. And then he suffered an injury and he was gone. So yeah, keep it on number 4. I'm telling you right now, he is going to have a breakout season, health permitting. He is going to have a breakout season.
Of course.
And I will be laughing myself to the bank.
Love it. Absolutely love it. You were fantastic. Let people know where they can find you. The Rams preview is officially done. First one done. I'll be back on Monday. You were the first one here. Let people know where they can find you for more Rams talk, Yankees talk. You do all the things.
All the things. I also got to get you on my other show now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys can find me on all social media at JK Bogan. I do Rams content, like Steph mentioned. I do Yankees content. I play video games with the viewers and hang out with them.
Amazing.
And I interview cool people like Steph, who I've got to get her on. It's called The Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen. So a lot of different things I'm doing. I probably forgot some of the things I'm doing. That's okay. I'm not going to bore you, but if you want to follow, just follow me on all social media at JK Bogan. You can find all the links there.
You were fantastic. Thanks for coming on. I will be back on Monday for more of these team previews. We've been on. This is the longest show in quite a bit. Not shocking.
Well, you had me on, so you had to know.
Of course. Obviously, I had to add some extra time. Like, rate, review, do all the things, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on Monday.